Oh.
Not going to do that, will you? Second.
What?
Not going to do that?
Yeah, I asked them to go get a few guys. I don't know if they're going to get them.
You're saying?
All right. So now we continue with some more Shmitta Sukkah. Where do we leave off? Oh, so we left off the time of the lulav around 2, 4, 6, 8, about 10 lines down from the top of Mem Aleph. So we just got finished saying that there's a Machlokes whether we go by esrog. Like esrog is somewhere in the middle. Esrog is somewhere in between a tree and a vegetable. Actually, somebody just asked me about avocado. Avocado is the same thing, no? That it's some sort of cross between the two? I don't know, I think so. But whatever it is, so it's a cross between the two, so we don't know which way to go. So that's a machlokes. The Maisa, how does the Rambam paskin? Right, so the Rambam paskins like both, l'chumra. The Maisa, the Rambam paskins l'chumra. So if the esrog grew most of the year in the 6th year and it was picked in the 7th year, the Rambam says it should be considered like the 7th year. And then in the 7th year, it grew mostly in the 7th year, was picked in the 8th year, it's still considered like the 7th year. So he goes l'chumra both ways, right? I know some are going to say, of course, but but that's, he takes both ends of it, right? Fine. We'll see later about now. Okay, so now that's with esrog. Now what about the lulav? Yes, the Gemara says again around 10, 11 lines down. Time of the lulav bar shishas anichlas shviyasu. Right? It sounds like the reason why we say that the lulav doesn't have shmita issues and only the esrog, because we said that the lulav was grown in the 6th year, that was going into the 7th year. Had the shviyas kaddish. Right? Mashma at the 7th year. The 7th year, if the lulav grew in the 7th year, it's going to have kedusha shviyas. Amai, why does the lulav have kedusha shviyas? Eitzim ba'almahu. All it is wood. Eitzim ein ben mishum kedusha shviyas. There's no kedusha shviyas on wood. The Tanan, or the Tanya, whichever that we learned, alei kanim, balei kfanim. So leaves of reeds and reeds of grapevines should give it one l'chayba al pnei asada. And you give one means you gathered them from in order to lechuma means to hide them, meaning to store them al pnei asada on through the whole sada. Meaning you gathered all these things from the face of the field. Liktan la'achila. So if you gather them to eat, meaning I guess you're eating these. Rashi says it's for behemoths, but if you're taking it for food, for behemoths. Yesh ben mishum kedusha shviyas, then it has kedusha shviyas. Liktan la'etzim, but if you took it for wood, meaning to burn things, ein ben mishum kedusha shviyas doesn't have kedusha shviyas. So you see very clearly that anything that's kedusha shviyas that's meant to be burned does not have what do you call it? How do you say it? It doesn't have kedusha shviyas because it's only meant to be burned, not meant to be eaten. Right? So that's
well, the lulav is not meant to be either one. It's meant for a mitzvah.
The lulav, right? But the bottom line, does it have kedusha shviyas or not?
So I'm saying it's being used for a mitzvah. It's not being used for either burning or eating. It's being used for a mitzvah. So it should have. It doesn't fall into either category. So it should have kedusha shviyas because it's being used for a mitzvah. What's more halig than that?
Yeah, but is it a din in being halig, or is it a din in?
It's not okay. It's not being used. It's not being burnt. Okay, fine.
Yeah. What do you mean for Pesach is being burnt? My nephew here says you're using the lulav to burn with the chametz.
Well, I didn't know he was so chassidish, your nephew.
Yeah. You know, from Lakewood, they make them a shtuka Hasidish sometimes.
Oh.
Maybe he's in proximity of Satmar, so maybe that has some influence on him. But okay, so what we're going to see that the Gemara Taka comes out that it does have kedusha shvius. But either way, so the Gemara's kasha is that why is a lulav? A lulav is meant is just a tree. It's for eitzim. So why would it have kedusha shvius? Again, the Gemara is saying that lulav really has kedusha shvius. Just it grew in the 6th year, so therefore you pay for the lulav and you get the esrog for free. Which the Gemara is asking, why should you even have to do that? The lulav shouldn't have any kedusha shvius at all. So I'm saying, yeah, obviously you have to pay for the meaning there's no issur of Shmitta on the lulav. So why is the Gemara making it sound like it's only because it's in the 6th year that there's there's no Shmitta on the lulav? Mash in the 7th year it is. The Gemara says a very interesting answer. Shani Hassam, there is different by the alei konim and alei fanim, meaning things that you're going to be using for burning. The Amar Kro lochem, so the pasuk says for you, right? Lochem la'achla, lochem dumi de la'achla. So it says lochem to eat. The lochem is similar to the achla. Misha anasa ubiyure shava. Anything that the hana and the meaning the benefit and the consumption comes at the same time, that's what's included in Shmitta. Yatsu eitzim sha'nosan acher b'yuron. But wood, the benefit comes after you already burn it. So therefore, it's not included in kedusha shvius. So let's just understand this. When you're taking this wood, so what are you doing with it? You're heating up a fire in order to what? To bake on it or to cook on it, right? So when did it get consumed? When you made the fire. When are you actually benefiting from it? Only after, once you start cooking. So therefore, that does not have kedusha shvius. But anything else that has anything else that has the hana and the beer at the same time does not have kedusha shvius. So when you're burning it for what do you call it? I'm sorry, I said it backwards. And if the consumption and the hana and the destruction is at the same time, that has shvius. So the stuff that does not have it at the same time does not have shvius. Right?
But wood you could use for firewood. You're getting hana at the same time as it's being consumed.
Oh yeah. So somebody asked me that question. I'm not sure. I don't know. Is that called hana? Just getting the hana?
Yeah, you're warming yourself up. Warming up the house.
Yeah, so I don't know. Somebody asked me this kasha. I wasn't sure. I was thinking that maybe that's not called a direct hana.
I don't know.
Yeah, you have, meaning it has nothing to do. It's not a hana from the wood directly. It's really from the heat that it provides. But the truth is, that's what you're doing with the cooking too, no?
Mm-hmm.
The pasuk says la'achla.
What are you saying?
Doesn't matter. That means that you get destroyed. You eat it up.
La'achla. That's consumption and the benefit.
Consumption. Okay. But it's being destroyed at the same time that you're having the hana.
Right. Yeah, so anyway, okay, well, I don't know. I hear the kasha. I'm not sure what to do with that. But the point of the teretz is that if the hana comes at the same time, then that's not going to be part of shvius, right? So what's with a lulav, right? What do we do with a lulav? So a lulav is what? When do you get hana? Normal hana from a lulav is meant as a broom. Right, they use the lulavim as broom, right? So that means when you're sweeping, you're destroying the broom at the same time as you're getting the benefit of the broom. So therefore, it's included in Shmitta, right? When firewood, like we're saying, is besides for Rabbeinu, besides for Yakasha, we're saying that the benefit comes after it's already destroyed. And here by lulav, the benefit comes at the same time it's getting destroyed. Therefore, it is included in Shmitta. So right now we're
No.
coming out that the lulav is included in Shmitta.
Dave, why are you giving up so fast? It's mamish the same time. I don't understand.
Well, we didn't give up a teretz. I don't have a teretz. I don't have a teretz. Yeah, but it is. It sounds like it's the same time, but again,
That's what fuel. That's what fuel is.
Right, but the lamais. I don't know who said the teretz that it's in the achila. We're going under the umbrella of achila, right? We're not really dealing with it.
So, Yaakov, you're a country person, so marshmallows and s'mores. It's mamish. It's at the same time. It's not. You're not like parrots eating the meat after it sits for 15 minutes. You're eating s'mores in the mountains on the fire. So it's mamish the same time.
So you're saying that that's not.
It's the same time. It's mamish the same time. Eating marshmallows, mamish as the fire's burning.
Right. I hear. Yeah, I don't know. I hear the teretz. I mean, I hear the kasha. Okay, whatever it is, but the point is we have to know is that a lulav is included in Shmitta because when they was normally used as a broom, and when you use the lulav as a broom, it's getting destroyed or worn down at the same time as you're getting the hana. Therefore, it's included in Shmitta. Okay, so let's see weiter. But we'll get back to.
So Yaakov, excuse me, just 1 second. I'm sorry because I'm bringing it tomorrow. I finally remembered to put it in my Gemara to show Shmuel tomorrow. That's from the Wall Street Journal from February 2014. It's a vendor in China selling lulav brooms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very. You had this saved since.
I have it since, yeah. I finally remembered to put it in the Gemara, yeah.
He got the idea from the Gemara, Aaron.
It's common in Mexico that they clean the streets with it.
Yeah, that's okay. So they do that in Mexico.
Yeah, he was one of the first guys to get the art scroll Korean version, though. So he's went into the business.
Yeah. Very good. That's Taka, very good. I hear. We should take a picture and post it on the chat. Yeah. Anyway, so the Gemara says, you have wood you have oily wood that the hana and the beer comes at the same time, which is really your kasha. I don't know why it's saying the oily because you're using it as a torch in addition to using it as firewood or whatever it is. So that l'chayra. I mean, why didn't the Gemara ask the same kasha like what you're asking, that you can get benefit?
Maybe they didn't roast marshmallows. They didn't roast marshmallows back then.
No, but we're saying, what about Rabbenu's kasha with the heat for the house, right? So for some reason, the Gemara doesn't want to ask that, but the Gemara is asking a similar kasha. But here we found a place where they do come at the same time, right? If he takes oily wood that you can use as a torch. So Rava says no. Stam eitzim ula, that vav doesn't really belong there. It's Rava stam eitzim lahasaka heinoidim. We go with regular wood. Regular wood is meant to be used for cooking, which maybe gives an answer for your kasha also. But I don't know. I don't know what was the more common use of wood back then, to heat up a house or to cook with. I'm not sure. Yeah. So the Gemara says, va'eitzim lahasaka tanahi, right? Tanoim, I'm sorry. That the wood for hasaka is in itself a machlokes tanoim. Yeah, why? The Tanya ain't moisin peres shvius loyla mishra v'loyla kfusa. You're not allowed to use peres shvius, which we're going to see means really wine, not to soak in it. I mean, you don't want to take flax and soak the flax in wine, meaning wine from Shmitta, v'loyla kfusa, and also not for washing, for laundry. Braysos says you can do this. Right now, what's the pshat in this machlokes? Meaning you're using wine. We know that the din by Shmitta is that the fruit and the vegetables from Shmitta can only be used for the regular way that they're meant. You can't use it for other things, right? So, and here we're saying that you can use grapes or wine Shmitta, for laundry or these type of things. So what's the pshat? Rav Yossi holds you can't. Rav Yossi holds you can. Tanakama says you can't. My time is Tanakama. Why does the Tanakama say you can't? So Makra says la'achla, that it's meant for eating. The loyla mishra, loyla kfusa, and not for soaking, and not for washing, and not for laundry. And my time is Rav Yossi. Makra lochem. It says you lochem l'chol tzorcheichem. It could be yours for anything that you need. Vafilu l'mishra l'chvaz. Even if you need it to soak flax and for your laundry. Okay, so each one has the one pasuk. The Tanakama is darshaning the word la'achla, and Rav Yossi is darshaning the word lachem. Okay, so Gemara asks, what does each one do with the other one's limud? The Tanakama haksiv lachem. The Tanakama says lachem. Hu lachem dumi de la'achla. That's what lachem means. It's got to be a lachem, yours, similar to eating. Misha nasu b'yurei shava. Like we said before, that's only for things that the hana and the destruction, the benefit and the destruction happen at the same time. Yatsu mishra ukvusa shanasan acher biyuron comes to exclude the soaking and the laundering that the hana only comes later, right? It gets destroyed once you put it into the laundry to the liquid, but it's not the benefit from it is not the laundry, the clean laundry or the clean flax or whatever it's doing is only going to come later. So that's the way the Tanakama answered it. Rav Yossi haksiv la'achla. What does Rav Yossi going to do with the word la'achla? So you can use it for eating, but you can't use it for medicine. Right? Melugma is like some sort of cream that they would put on. Right? It says for eating and not for melugma. Maybe lachem is coming to tell you. I'm sorry, la'achla is coming to tell you melugma, or is it maybe coming to tell you not for washing? Who says which way you dashin it? So Gemara says when it says it's yours, it's saying that it's meant for laundry. So what's then la'achla? La'achla means eating and not for melugma. So then the Gemara, the kasha is obvious. I mean, who says which one should be included and which one should be excluded? What do you see to include the wine for the laundry and to exclude the melugma? Marbani is takfusa. So the Gemara answers, the marbani is takfusa. I'm going to include the kfusa sheshava b'chol adam, because kfusa, everybody needs laundry, right? That would be included in the word lachem la'achla. I'm going to exclude the melugma she'ena shava l'chol adam. It's not shava l'chol adam. It's only for people that are sick. Right, so whatever it is, what do we see from this? That this whole din, that the hana and the consumption has to come at the same time, is a machlokes tanoim. Right? Okay, so it's a machlokes tanoim. Fine. Then man tana lahad the tana rabbanon. So who's the tana of this next price? So the la'achla v'loy melugma, v'la'achla v'loy ziluf. It says to eat it and not use it for creams, for medicinal creams. La'achla v'loy ziluf. You should eat it and not to sprinkle wine all over the house in order to make it smell good. La'achla v'loy lasis meno afik tfizin. And to eat it and not to make some sort of drink for stomach problems to make you throw up. So who is that like? That has to be like Rabbi Yossi. The Rabbanon economy mishra kusa, because it was the Rabbanon. They would also include in this that you're allowed to use Shmitta fruits and wines for laundry and for soaking flax. And since it doesn't say that, it must be that this Braysos is Rabbi Yossi. Fine. Okay. So now before we go weiter, so we need to just again a hakdama, which is that there's such a thing called chilul, right? Meaning when somebody says make something hektish. Let's say I decide to make my car hektish, right? And I want to now. I obviously the car, and I'm gonna donate my car to the Beis Hamikdash, right? So, listen, like the marshal cars for kids, right? Ura ain't using every one of those cars for kids, cars that they're getting for kiruv, right? Unless I check, cars don't do kiruv, right? So what are they doing? They're being paid. Meaning they're taking your car, they're selling it, they're giving the money to Ura. Right, so that's exactly what goes on by hektish. You make something hektish, and then you paid it. You say, okay, how much is the car worth? The car's worth $1,000, so I'm going to give the $1,000 to hektish, and then the car goes out of the hektish. Right? Why not just give $1,000 to hektish? I don't know, but that's basically what you do. So you have the same thing by Shmitta, right? If you wanted to take the kedusha of Shmitta and put it on to something else, and then have that thing not to have kedusha of Shmitta, So that can be done, but it has to be done the right way. We'll see by the bottom of the daf exactly why Shmitta is much more strict than any other area of hektish. But that's what you have to do. So the question is, can you do it with chilul, which is basically just saying whatever the kedusha is on these vegetables, I'm putting onto money, and that's it? Or can you do it by purchasing or selling it, right? But maybe chilul doesn't work. So that's going to be a machlokes. Shmitta cannot become chulin only through business. You can't do a swap on your own. Meaning you can't just say your vegetables should go onto the money that's in your bank account. It doesn't work. It only can be if you sell somebody the vegetables, like we learned yesterday with the selling the 3 meals worth to the buying from the Amoritz 3 meals worth. So there's a chilul. So according to Rabbi Lezer, you can only do the chilul through an actual purchase. You can, whether it's the standard chilul like you do for any other hektish, or that it's done with a business, either one of those works. Okay, my time is the Rebbe Lezer. So why does Rebbe Lezer hold it could only be done through business? In the year of this yovel, right? And then it says and if you're gonna sell something, so mekach derech mekach v'loy derech chilul. So why is the pasuk using the word memkar, selling, right next to the pasuk of Shnasa Yovel? So it must be that the only way you can get chulin produce, Shmitta produce to be chulin is to sell it. Rabbi Yochanan, my time, what does Rabbi Yochanan hold that you can do either one? Dichsiv ki yovel hi kodesh, because it's yovel and it's kodesh. Ma kodesh pein derech mekach pein derech chilul, just like hektish. You can make it lose its kedusha either through selling or through being mechalel it. So af shvius pein derech mekach pein derech chilul. So to shvius is the same thing. Okay, so now we have to ask, what does each one do with the other one? Rabbi Yochanan haiki simkru memkar my avidlei. What does Rabbi Yochanan do with this? That it sounds like it's only a sale. Again, Rabbi Yochanan said you could do both, and the pasuk is mashma that it only through selling. So the Tanya Amar Rabbi Yosef bar Chanina bo re'ei kama kosher avka shel shvius. That's sort of like a phrase. Really, it means avka means really dust of Shmitta, but meaning, see how like avak lashon hara, right? The avak lashon hara is not actual lashon hara; it's like close to it. So let's see how difficult shvius is. Yeah, why? Adam nice of a pair of shvius. If a person's going to do business with shvius, the saif meicher is mataltulav as kelev. He's going to end up having to sell all his belongings, his metaltalin, the stuff that can be moved, metaltal of eskalov, and his regular utensils. It says in this yovel, everything everything goes back to its original owner. Right. So what do you see? So he's saying that it's just a drasha to tell you that be careful when you start doing business. This is important for anybody that sells a stroigim next year. Right? Be careful when you're going to do business with anything, or those wine sellers. Be careful if you do anything business with Shmitta, because it can cause you to become penniless. Fine. Rabbi Lazar, high crowd Rabbi Yochanan, my avidlei, and this pasuk of Rabbi Yochanan, what does he do with it? It says it's yovel and it's kodesh. Ma kodesh typhus is dam of kodesh. It's typhus. It's money, meaning it keeps continuing. The money keeps continuing. Af shvius typhus is the most. So shvius also keeps continuing, meaning there's always going to be. It's never going to lose its kedusha. Its kedusha can keep I sort of like kicking the can down the road. You can try and get this thing not to have kedusha, but there's always going to be some kedusha to it. Meaning, you take your car, right, and now you made it into hektish. So then you decide that you're not. Basically, so we don't need your car. So you say, okay, I'm going to take the car and I'm going to make the money hektish, right? Fine. Now you take that money and you go to the store and you buy some meat. Now that meat becomes hektish, meaning it's always going to be hektish. You're not ever going to. It's going to keep the trail. The trail's going to continue, right? Yes, you can keep transferring the kedusha from one thing to the next, but at the end of the trail, there's always going to be hektish. You're never going to get rid of it. And Shmitta is the same thing. right? Which is again why it gets so difficult if by mistake you buy like in Costco, shvius fruits or vegetables. You can keep trying to transfer, but at the end of the day, you're going to be stuck with something that's going to have kedusha shvius, which is you're going to have to keep all the halachos of it. That's why it gets complicated when people buy these things in Costco during Shmitta. Yeah. Okay. So now the Gemara says to prove, it's just another Braysos to prove to show that there's Braysos to each one of these shittas. Tani Kavaseder of Allah.
Can I ask a loaded question, or you don't want to be bothered now?
Why not? Go ahead.
What do the Rabbanut, doesn't the Rabbanut take Shmitta from everything that they export?
Correct. The shaila is what are they doing?
Excuse me.
Yeah, the Rabbanut takes Trumas and Maisus. Yeah.
So then what's the problem?
Who says that? You don't know. It doesn't, a lot, this stuff comes without a hechsher. You don't know if the Rabbanut was involved. The Rabbanut takes from everything?
Oh, that's what I was asking. I have no idea.
No. I don't know either. I think that some of the stuff has an OU. So then when it has an OU, then they make sure the Trumas and Maisus is taken off. But if the stuff doesn't have an OU, then the OU says they can't vouch for exactly what went on over there. I don't know. Does the Rabbanut have a rule? Like, I've got to ask the kids in Eretz Yisrael. Does the Rabbanut have a rule that all vegetables have to go through there, or only if they want a hechsher? I don't know. Then, of course, you get into the heter mechira. Even if it's a Rabbanut, so they're going to be samach on the heter mechira. So then you get into that whole loaded question, which is not the loaded question that you were asking, but that's what I'm saying, right? Are they using the heter mechira, which is not so bad, which is really not so bad. Or are they using Oitzer Bezdin, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah. So it's just hard to know. It's hard to trace it. Yeah, so let's see. So again, Tani Kavaseder of Elazar, but Tani Kavaseder of Yochanan, we have a Braysos like each one of them. Yeah, Tani Kavaseder of Elazar. Shvius Tefeses as the male. Shvius always, the literal translation is Shmitta grabs onto its money, meaning it's a worth. Shenemar ki yovel hi kodesh tia lachem. It's yovel and it's going to be kodesh. Ma kodesh Tefeses as damav, but also, so kodesh holds on to its money, and it stays asur. Av shvius tefeses es tameh asur. Even Shmitta grabs onto its money and its worth, and it asurs it. Now the Gemara explains. Baruch Hashem, the Gemara explains. Ima kodesh tefes dama v'yotzi lechulin. So kodesh grabs onto its money, but it goes out to chulin. Meaning your original kedusha, like we're using the car as an example, right? So you make the car into hektish, and then you sell it. So now the car loses its hektish status, but the money becomes hektish. Now you would think, okay, af shvius tefeses es domeh v'yotzes l'chulin. So shvius too. I have the vegetables from shvius, right? Then I sell it to somebody. So now my money becomes kedusha shvius, but the vegetables go out. The Gemara says no. It should be b'haviyasa tehei. It should be the way it is, meaning that the Shmitta has an extra chumrah, that the vegetables, the original thing, will always stay kaddish. Let's see how it's. Okay, so what's the case? Yeah, so this is not hard to follow, but it's just you have to follow how it goes through. So look up the peris shvius basar. Let's say you bought meat with your peris of shvius, right? You took your apple from shvius and you went to the butcher and he said, "Here's my apple. Here's an apple from Shmitta. Give me some meat." So elu ve'elu misparim b'shvius. Both this and this have to get consumed by Shmitta. Well, now with the consumption of Shmitta, what that means, misparim means it gets burned. But even Shmitta, hefker, fruits and vegetables, the din by Shmitta is that once we in America have no idea what this is, but Eretz Yisrael, it's important. Somewhere in the middle of Shmitta, basically what it is that even the fruits and vegetables you get beheter from Eretz Yisrael, right? So once there's no more left in the field, that's called shas beer, and you have to get it out of your house. You're not allowed to have it anymore. So what you do is you put it out and you make it hefker in front of three people, and then you're allowed to bring it back into your house. So if you take peris shvius and you buy meat with it, both of those things, the meat and the vegetables, have kedusha shvius, right? Then you went and lokach bebasar dagim. So now if you took with the meat, you went and swapped the meat to the fish guy. So then yatsa basar v'nichnas dagim. Then the basar becomes no longer kedusha shvius, but the fish gets kedusha shvius. Lokach b'dagim yayin. Then you go to you're going through the shuk, you're bouncing through the shuk, and you're wheeling and dealing. Lokach b'dogim yain. Then you go and you take your fish and you buy some wine with it. So yotzu dogim v'nichnas yain. So the wine goes. The fish goes out of kedusha, and the wine has kedusha shvius. Lokach b'yain shemen. Then you go and you buy oil. So yotzu yain v'nichnas shemen. So out goes the wine, and in goes the shemen. Haketzad achron nichnas b'shvius. The last thing is always going to have kedusha shvius. But here's the catch, where this is more than everything else. Upri atzmai aser, and the original fruit, way back when, maintains the kedusha, right? So that's different when hektish. See, hektish is always the last thing that has kedusha. By Shmitta, it's a unique din where the original vegetable always maintains and retains its kedusha plus the money. So again, I hate to keep harping on it, but that's just the practical example to understand it. So again, you go to Costco and you buy yourself vegetables. Peppers is usually the culprit. Peppers or tangerines or tangerines, right, from Costco during Shmitta. Now what do? So now those vegetables have kedusha. What are you gonna do? Give it back to Costco and get back your money? Your money has kedusha. And now you just took those vegetables and you gave them to Costco, who's not going to treat it with kedusha shvius. Right, so what exactly are you supposed to do? And even if you take that money,
I'm shocked about you. Forget about the money. What about the mileage you got on your credit card?
I didn't want to go down that road, Aaron. I didn't want to go down that road, make it any more.
I was wondering if you're having a senior moment or not, Thiago.
No. I was thinking, take the mileage, fly there to Yisrael with all your vegetables and bring them back there. But right, but yes. And now you say, okay, I'll take that money and I'll buy more vegetables. It doesn't. So that's still not going to help for the vegetables that you return, right? It'll take the money and the kedusha will go back onto other vegetables, but you have a problem anyway. So that's what's more chomer about Shmitta is that the original vegetables and fruits retain the kedusha, plus anything that you swap out for it. The last item is always going to have the kedusha. Anyway, what does this have to do with whether you can make it go out to chulin with sales or just making it doing the maisa of being mechalel? Because here it just keeps saying lokach. It doesn't say chilul. When it's only lokach, it keeps saying he's going to go get the meat, and then he goes from the meat, gets the fish, and then he gets the fish, he gets the wine. It keeps saying purchasing. It's masher from this Braysos. Only if you purchase it does the last thing go out of the second to last thing go out of kedusha. But if you just decided to do a swap on your own, then it wouldn't work. Derech mekach in derech chilul. It only works through business and not through chilul. Fine. Tani kavaseder of Yochanan. So that was like Rebbe Eliezer. Now we have a Braysos like Rebbe Yochanan. Echad shvius ve'echad ma'aser sheni. Whether we're talking about shvius or ma'aser sheni, mechalel and al behema chaya v'oif. You're allowed to make a behema chaya and oif kaddish from it. Right? Meaning, if you have money or vegetables from Shmitta, you're allowed to make your live animal have whether it's alive or shechted, you can put the kedusha onto that. Divrei Rameir. Al shchutin mechalin, you can do it on shchutin. Al chayin ein mechalin, but you are not allowed to make your animals kaddish with Shmitta, meaning by taking your vegetables and saying the worth of the vegetables, the kedusha is going onto this live goat. Right, that you can't do. Why? What's going to happen is you might decide to take this goat and decide to raise a whole flock of goats, and then you're going to have a whole thing of goats that are kaddish, and that's not going to be a good situation, right? Because it's going to go over the year for Ma'aser Sheni, and you have a problem. So we're afraid if you can do that with live ones. So what's the right? So what do we see from here? That the Gemara is just talking about being mechalel, right? It's not talking about mekach, but mekach it's either chul. If for this sheet, you can do both. But Machlokes is chorim. What's saying? Machlokes is one Tamar Aleph now. Machlokes is by males. Al v'nekevas divrei akol al shchutin mechalin al chayin ein mechalin. But if it's females, then everybody holds that you can only do it on shechted ones, not on live ones. Meaning, if you only have males, then you're not going to be able to make a flock. Right, but females, I guess it would be easier I guess it's easier to get to the females it's more of a chashash that you're going to make a flock, right? So Then by the Omer of Ashi Machlokes is the pre-rishon, and this whole Machlokes is the first fruit that you're being mechalel. Right? Again, like we were talking about kicking the can down the road, and you're taking one thing and making the next one kaddish and the next one kaddish, right? So this thing is derech chilul that we said is only by the first peiros of pre-sheni, but once you take those fruits and you're being mechalel onto the next fruit, divrei hakol bein derech mekach bein derech chilul, whether it's whether it's selling or being mechalel. Since it said in the racial lokach, so the sefer also says lokach. But the bottom line is, we see from this second case that there's a brayso that says that you can also be mechalel shmita. Okay, we'll stop here. I hope that was understandable. But a few more lines of shmita tomorrow, and then we get back to more basic halal and lulav, hilchos lulav. All right. Good to know.
Shkoyach.
Yeah.
Shkoyach.
Yeah. What did you say?
No one died in marriage.
All the kids in there married? All right, welcome back. Welcome back, Junior Russell. Welcome back. Good to see you again. All right. Shmuel. I keep forgetting. Don't get offended if I forget your name. I barely can remember the Gemara. It's not like if I had your father's memory, it'd be a taina. But it's good to see you back. All right. Have a good night. All right. Yeah. Aaron, shkoyach for your phone again.
It's working, I see, huh?
Well, the video is on my phone and the audio is from your phone. So yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm happy it's working out. Good.
Yeah. All right.
Very good.
Okay, Zagazin.
All right.